Welcome everybody. Welcome to Brewhouse Art Studio, and I'm Brian Brewer, and this is a tutorial on MotionBuilder. Uh, Last week I did a tutorial on character setup. I thought I was prepared, wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. I'm using 2019 at work. I use 2018 in MotionBuilder, so I probably stumbled a little more than I would have liked to. So this is kind of a redo. I'm going to redo my tutorial and hopefully be a little more informative. The goal of this tutorial is to basically set up a character and get it ready for an animator to use, whether they're doing hand key animation or motion capture. So uh, if you have any questions, feel free to send them my way, and I'd like to answer them the best I can. Sorry this isn't live. This is all this is a pre-recorded show. So let me, without further ado, move on to this. So brief overview. Your character's got to come from somewhere. In this case, this is Maya. And this is an old character from a game I worked on many years ago called Duke Nukem Forever. This is an EDF soldier. And so you get the character, and if you want to have a nice character inside of MotionBuilder, there's a few things you have to do. One, if you want textures, make sure you apply your textures. There are channels on each material. Channels would be that you probably want are the diffuse map and the normal map for bumps. Unfortunately, this guy is pretty old. He doesn't have any normals, and I couldn't find any normal maps for this guy. But this is, you'd want to make sure that they're on, whether you're coming from Maya or Max or whatever other program you're coming from to go into MotionBuilder. The second thing you want to do is you want to, if you want to be friendly, when you set up your skeleton, you want to be name friendly. So things like your upper arm joint, if I come over here, you see I named these very specifically MotionBuilder naming convention. So you have right arm and, right arm roll. Now, MotionBuilder supports arm rolls, which is a second joint in the upper arm and in the forearm, and same in the upper leg. Two joints, same in the lower leg. This gives kind of a nice twist. Not necessary. There are other solutions to this and other ways of setting up roll joints inside a MotionBuilder using, light rig. I call it light rigging, just general rigging. But yeah, this is kind of like where you need to come. I highly recommend studying anatomy and knowing right where to place the joints. I don't know how accurate these are. This is a very old game, and this was Duke Nukem's skeleton that we put this EDF soldier on. So typically, oh, by the way, this is primarily for video games. Movies are a little bit different. Movies can be a little more bespoke to the character. A lot of times they'll be one-to-one, and each character you have may be its own completely unique skeleton and setup. So if you're working on a movie, you probably do this like, how dozens of times if you're working on something big, or maybe even hundreds. For a video game, you probably don't do this like a couple times, maybe a male character, a female character, maybe a one-off character. But because in video games characters share a skeleton, you should only have to do this one time. So anyway, there are a few little things here I want to take note on. Typically when a rigger likes to build a skeleton, they'll kind of use this hip configuration. Personally, I don't care for it. I actually like my pelvis to be right between the two upper leg joints. The reason for that is that's how MotionBuilder builds its control rig, and you'll see it kind of later when it puts in the node for you to control the character. It'll actually put it between those two joints. So once you have everything, you just go ahead and file and export all, save it as an FBX, go wherever you're going to save it to, and boom, save. I hit cancel because I already saved this, but yeah. Then you open your character up in MotionBuilder, and he should come in with his textures all mapped into the correct folder that you keep your textures. If you don't, you can actually embed your media into the file. I don't recommend this. I would recommend keeping your textures separate from this. So if you go up File and you do Save As, by default in MotionBuilder, when you first get it and launch it, it'll have embedded media checked on. So what this does is that if there's any images or video, it will it kind of like bakes it or merges it into the actual FBX file. And if you're working on a huge game, like I happen to be working on Star Citizen, and we use 4096 textures for pretty much everything, you can bloat your FBX up into the from megabytes to gigabytes quite easily. I think somebody made the mistake of on the project and actually had embedded media ticked on, and it was like 9 gigs. So yeah, no bueno. Uncheck your embedded media and hit save by doing a save as. You only have to do that one time, and then MotionBuilder remembers that setting. You'll never have to set it again, or you shouldn't ever have to set it again. So the next thing you want to do is you got your character. You want to put your character into a T-pose. There's some things to take note when you put your character into T-pose, namely the shoulders. His shoulders were actually kind of down here. If I hop back over to Maya, you can see how his shoulders are actually kind of down and in his normal A pose as opposed to the T pose that he's in here. But for MotionBuilder, when you characterize a character, they have to be in T-pose, and they also have to be facing down the Z. If they're not facing down the Z, they will characterize all sorts of strange. So I lift up the clavicles, the shoulders. When you lift up your arm naturally, your arm will only be able to raise up so far, and then it'll get to a certain point. And then the clavicle will actually take over and start lifting up. It's just physiology. That's just how we're built, right? So this is very important to understand what this is and what the downstream effects can have. I've discovered that by lifting up that clavicle before characterizing it, you get much better solves when it comes to retargeting motion capture. But keep in mind when you do retarget motion capture, most likely characterizing whatever that motion capture skeleton is that you're pulling in, you'll have to take that into account when you characterize your motion capture skeleton. Which, by the way, tomorrow, my next tutorial is actually going to be retargeting and getting motion capture set up to put onto a character. So what else do we need to do? We need to actually characterize this guy. So like I said, first things first, you got to put him into T-pose. I straighten up his legs the best I can. Actually, his knee looks a little bit bent, doesn't it? Let me double check that. Go into my local, and nope, it's zeroed out. It's just an illusion. Maybe not. It looks bent, doesn't it? This is an old character. Oh, this one is actually hyperextended to negative. That's why. Well, let's fix that. So that's that number. I should be able to come in here and punch that number right in on the X as well and get that leg forward. There we go. Now he's all squared up. So very important to be very precise with this. So by the way, I like to work in this view, especially when I'm setting up, because I like to see everything in my schematic view as I build this character. So if you come down over into pose controls, or I'm sorry, not pose controls, your asset browser, you can go to character, and there's a character here, and he's ready to characterize initially. So now you can do this a couple different ways. You can all you have to do is drag and drop this. You can just drag it up here, drag this up here, and drop it right onto his hips. Or you can come up here and drag it right onto his skeleton. And what's going to happen is it's going to look for all the joints. And if the naming conventions are the same as MotionBuilder, what's going to happen is it will auto arrange everything, or auto line everything up. So I'm going to say characterize, and we get an error here, and I'll tell you why. But there is a specific joint in this character that does not match the naming conventions. And it happens to be hips, because on this character, we call our hips root. So there it is right there, root. You can see when I've brought in a character, it's brought up the definition settings right over here on the right. And you can see everything is green except for the hips. So if I go over to the character and I go over to his character definition, you can see that the base required joints are all filled in. Everything except hips, which is missing because it's root. So if you select, by the way, I'm using hotkeys for Maya, the Maya controller configuration. So if I tell you a hotkey, it's based off of that. Maya, Max, MotionBuilder, they all have slightly different hotkeys inside of here. So I'm going to grab root, I'm going to hold down X, going to click anywhere in a blank area and drag it down into hips, and it drops down into hips. But I'm not done just yet. There is a reference node, and I want to add my top null as a reference node. It's always good to have a reference node in here, and if I had called it not top null, but if I had called it reference, it would have auto-filled in here as well when I went for characterization. I'm getting ready to click on characterize, but before I do, I'm going to show you one other thing. In this being an old game, we had certain restrictions on how many joints we could have in the character. I'm going to show you his hands real fast. So his hands look like typical hands you'd see in a video game. If I wanted to, I could add another joint right here inside the hand. These are the carpal joints. These are if you look at a skeleton, these are the bones that lead from the wrist up to the first knuckle. Believe it or not, those actually move, especially when you're trying to cup your hand around something. That's why they call them like a cupping joint, or a lot of times you see that in the rig, and it allows you to have your pinky touch your thumb quite easily. Now that is supported in MotionBuilder, by the way. They're called in-hand joints. If I close that and I go to, I'm trying to remember where it's at. I want to left hand maybe. So yeah, so you can see it's filled out all the finger joints here. It's not oh, and by the way, you're not limited to 5 fingers. You can actually have a 6th digit on a hand if you so desire. They leave space there for you. It's not left hand. What is it called? It's right here, left in hand, right in hand. So these are the in hand slots. If I had joints right down in here, it would fill out in here, and it's really nice. And I highly recommend, if you do build a character that you want higher fidelity when it comes to animating hands and fingers, I highly recommend you at least put put 2 extra joints in for at least these 2 fingers. But I have seen them in for all 4 of those fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and click characterize, and because there are no errors, there's no missing joints, it's going to ask me, do I want biped or quadruped? Well, it's a human, so I'm going to click biped, but if you're doing, like, say, a horse or a dog or something, you'd click quadruped. So I click biped, and he is now ready to be an animated character almost. He's ready to retarget. He's ready to do a few things, but he's not quite there yet. There's a lot of little odds and ends I like to do to get him prepared. So you'll notice that these little boxes showed up whenever I activated his characterization. What these are floor contacts. So if you were to think about this as an imaginary board or a plane that connect all these markers together. And what this does is it prevents, if I turn on floor contact for hands, it will prevent his hands from actually going through the floor. And it is based off of where these are at. So you want to get these as close to the hand as possible. So I'm just going to take these and I'm going to push these into the wrist. And when I do this, it actually mirrors it on the other side as well. Let's see if I can grab this over here, and you can see that it's moving. It was moving those on the other side because MotionBuilder tries to keep everything, uniform. So I grab that, and then I grab this. So you can also have an like if you're doing a quadruped, this would be the ball of the foot, so to speak, or the toe, where the toe comes out. That's what this is about. This is the difference between the fingers and the palm of the hand. It'll make a little more sense here on the foot, because I'm going to come down to the feet. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab these floor contacts, and I'm just going to push them in to come as close to the character's boot as possible. And let's get a little bit more space here so we can see it a little bit better. One of the things I'm going to point out is, even though his bones are straight, his feet fell off. This is a modeling thing. This is one of those situations where I'd probably... Wait, I take it back. I think his foot is off. Let me look at that real fast. Yeah, I think his foot is off. Let's go to top view and zoom in on this. I think it's off. Is it off? It's kind of off. That looks off. Oh, the joys of working with a asset that is more than 10 years old. We'll just run with it for now. But these are little things that you want to look at and pick out and be picky about, because later on it's going to make it really nice. I'll show you exactly how these floor contacts work later, because they're really, really helpful when trying to get that contact with the ground. So floor contacts, yes. Yeah, I don't know if you remember seeing this. Let me pull this back up. But up here, I have left, right, hand, and foot floor contacts. So I'm actually going to build that real fast, and I'll show you how I build it. So you go to Elements, and I grab markers. I'm going to throw one in. And this is going to be the start of my floor contacts. I'm just going to drag this off to the side. Copy, paste. Oh, by the way, the way I'm dragging this down is if you have something selected, which when I copy pasted it was already selected. If you hold any unbound key, you can drag it wherever you want. So if you're like looking at something really small like this, and you want to drag that node that you know is selected off to the side, and it's like lost somewhere in this mess, it's easy to just hold down any unbound. I hit the Q key, but yes, any unbound key. And when you create a new object, like I'm going to copy paste this, it automatically puts it on the top right of everything. So Q, bring it down here, paste it again, bring this down here. In the schematic view, it's good to, in my opinion, come up with layouts that work well with you. You could string them all in one big long string, or you can group things together. I prefer to group things together. It makes it easier for me when I work. All right, so marker, 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 marker. They're all on top of each other, all right there. So I'm going to start naming these. I'm going to call this, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to reference the character before I name that. These are left foot floor, right foot floor, so I want to make them the same name as that. So let's do right foot floor. Left foot floor. right hand floor. Left hand floor. All right, so I've got all my floor contacts. Right now they're just a boring red box that doesn't really help me out too much. So let's grab these hands, left hand, right hand, and I'm just going to push these out here. Then I'm going to take the, see, this is the right side, so I'm going to take the left side, left, left, and push those out that way. Usually I take the time to actually punch in numbers, so maybe -40. And then the other two I do +40. And then we grab the hands and punch those out 40. Or use whatever numbers work best for you. I'm just kind of putting them out evenly around this guy. You'll see why later. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab those boxes and go to Properties and go to Marker Settings inside Properties. And I'm going to change their color from red because to me red is like a warning color. I'm just going to change it to something that better suits me, my tastes. So I'm just going to select orange for these guys. And I'm going to change their look from a cube to a light cross. You can see there's a light cross. Now I'm going to increase the size of them. Now I don't want to actually scale them up like that because you can see it actually puts a value over here. I don't want that. I want to keep them at their default value of 1, scale of 1. I'm going to increase their size right here in the property window. So I'm just going to scale that up like so. And done. And the reason why I changed them to this light cross is you'll see, I keep saying you'll see in a minute. When I put a ground plane and shadows and everything in there, it really helps me know exactly where the ground plane is. If it was a cube or some of these other shapes, not so much. But I think something that lets you know the ground is right there. Because what can happen is with him characterized, I should be able to pull up on those and his feet, it will lift his feet up because his feet will not go through that ground plane because of floor contacts. So what I want to do is I want to uncharacterize this guy for right now. Because right now, because those floor contacts haven't been added to his characterization, if I turned on floor contact, it would take the 0 plane and make it the floor contact. We don't want that. So I'm going to remove his characterization. And let's start dragging these in. So left foot floor, select it, hold down X, drag and drop. Right foot floor, hold down X, select, drag, drop. Left hand, same thing. Right hand, last one. And recharacterized, biped. All right. And by the way, every time you uncharacterize him, recharacterize him, he'll automatically pop into whatever the T-pose is. So if you've got him posed some other way or animation on him and you accidentally hit the uncharacterized button, he'll snap into that T-pose. And then if you have animation on it, you can lose your T-pose, which sucks. Don't let it happen to you. You have to re-T-pose them, and it's just a nightmare. Better to just revert to whatever your last file is at that point. All right, so I've got that done. I want to do a few more little things to make him a little bit nicer for an animator to use. So one thing I want to take note of is the skeleton itself. This is just your basic gray default skeleton. I like to add a little bit of color to my skeleton. So I'm going to hold down spacebar and right click on the top node and it will select everything in the hierarchy underneath it. So I'm going to deselect so I can do that again. So I'm going to hold down spacebar and right click and it selects everything in that hierarchy. I'm going to go over to my skeleton settings and again you can change these colors. Oh no, hold on. Maya wants to dock things if you start moving things around. So you have to actually hold control to move these windows around. Otherwise it's going to go, oh, you want to dock right here. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to drag that off into my other window and hold down control and drag it back. So I'm just gonna. So I made these orange. I think I'll make those his skeleton orange. No, I'm gonna make his skeleton blue. Give him a blue skeleton. It's nice. Click OK. There's his. Wow, it's a very blue skeleton. I'm gonna give him a slightly different blue skeleton. Let's do that. Let's go in this direction. I try to stay away from primary colors like lime green, which is your selection color, or red, or blue. That in particular blue that looks like your gizmo axes colors. So there we go. It's a little bit nicer. And it's very visible. Like with this character, with the colors that are on his texture, that blue is very, very visible from a distance. All right. Because this is a game character, he also has a special node right underneath him, and in this game we called it a movement node. This movement node is used in code. In this case, it was the Unreal Engine that this guy was being animated in, and it's required by the game to know where the character happens to be at. So when you animate a character, or when a character is moving around a game, what's really moving around is this node. This node is being controlled by the player, and that node will slide around, and it will jump or fly or whatever the game design has decided it needs to do. And all the animation that you see on the character is window dressing. So while this node is moving around, the window dressing of the character's animations of running and jumping and all that stuff need to play nice together. So everything just follows, and poses need to match and all sorts of other technical stuff. But that's another tutorial, which I will be doing sometime in the future. So with this, I'm going to actually, this is very difficult to see because it's really small. This is whatever the default skeleton scale is. So I'm just going to come down here to the skeleton. I got these two selected. I'm going to come down here to size, and I'm going to increase that size. Now the end joint doesn't really matter. It's not going to get exported to game. Really, it's so you know which direction this node is pointing. We need to know that this node is pointing forward. Well, actually, let me go to local. Make sure. Yeah, local. It is pointing locally down the Z. Some games, it will be pointing down the Y. Almost never pointing down the X. It's really either going to be pointing down the Z or the Y, depending on if your game in your engine and everything's based off of max XYZ coordinates or Maya XYZ coordinates. So it points that way. I'm going to take this, I'm going to change that to a different color. This is the one area where I break my rule of coloring something a specific color. I color this, normally I color it green because in the game I'm working on right now, Y is forward. But I think I'm going to color this blue, like a bright blue. There we go. And this will be a blue node. And I think I'm going to change the rest of his skeleton. Now that I'm seeing this, I'm going to change it from blue to something else. I'm going to change it to maybe orange. Orange. We'll do orange. Why not? Change it to orange. There we go. So we got our movement node and everything. So one of the things I need to do to this character is he has weapon bones in his hand, and the origin node or the movement node, some games call it the locator locomotion node, those need to be characterized so that they can receive poses and you can edit them with the rest of the skeleton. A character extension it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an extension of the character skeleton that works in conjunction with the main control rig, which I have not created the main control rig yet, by the way. But maybe I should create the main control rig. Yeah, I think I'll create the main control rig right now. So it's pretty simple to do. You can do it a couple different ways. Best way, if you're creating it from the very beginning, or the very first one you create, just select your character over here in your navigator. Under character definition, you click create. It's going to give you some options. FKIK or IK only. FKIK gives you an FK/IK rig. Duh. IK only is IK, and I highly recommend never doing IK only. I have played with it, and I've never gotten it to work the way I think it should work. But FKIK is amazing, so I'm just going to click that. And you can see it's actually built in this control rig on him. So if I grab a wrist, you can see, hold on. Oh, by the way, if you're like grabbing a wrist, you're like, it's not moving. It's because it's on element mode. By default, MotionBuilder, when you create a control rig and a character for the first time and all that, it puts it on element mode. You want to come up here to body part mode or full body mode. So if you hover over here, I'm using a tablet, so it's difficult to hover. But if you hover over this, you'll say full body. Come over here, it will say body part. So just clicking any one of these other settings up here, or modes to be in, you can then come in here and you can actually start controlling this character. Right. So what else do I want to do? All right, character extensions, kind of back onto character extensions. So I've got my character rig. I want to put some character extensions in. You can go right to your asset browser, go to your characters, and then there's a character extension right there. Another way to do it is over here. Oh, they don't have it in here. Our MotionBuilder 2019 is a little bit different. All right, so I'm just going to drag a character extension. I'm going to drag it up in here somewhere, and it's going to create this character extensions, which, because this is now available for us to use, you can, if you wanted to create another character extension, you can actually right-click on that and say, Insert character extension. And I want 3 of these things for now. Insert character extension. And you can add as many of these as you need to make your character function. And I'm going to rename these things to, let's see, rename. I'm going to call this movement. Oh, movement node. This one I'm going to call right weapon. And the other one will be left weapon. Oh, did I not do that? Rename. Oh, I have to click it again. Right weapon. And left weapon. All right, so I got my weapon nodes. All right, so it's pretty simple. You grab the node that you want to drop in there. You can either grab it here, or you can grab it over here. Hold down X, click, and drag right into that. That's the movement. Add to movement. Now I'm going to go grab the hands. Now, you're probably asking yourself, where did my hand joints go? They disappeared. Well, they disappeared because when I created the control rig, it switched over to control rig mode, which hid the skeleton. If I turn off control rig, so you can see control rig 1, right there, let's turn that off, say none. And you can see it, the skeleton has reappeared, and there is the node. So this is the right weapon, so drag that down into right weapon. Add to right weapon. Yeah. And let's go grab the left one. I'm selecting it here. You can actually find it here somewhere, wherever it happens to be. By the way, a lot of people I see animators trying to like hold down X and drag from the node itself. It's not necessary. You can actually hold down X, click in any blank spot, and drag down and over and into it, and add it there. So, oh look, I have an old control rig in here. Let me delete that so we don't get confused. All right. So I'm going to take all these character extensions and I'm going to drag it into my character. I don't have to hold down X for this. I can just click and drag, and it'll go up there. And you're going to get a warning that says, hey, all your poses are now out of date because you added this stuff to it. You just can click right through it. It doesn't mean that if you've created poses for this guy that they won't work. All it means is if you try to paste that pose on, it'll paste everything but whatever that character extension is. So you have to reset your poses, which is pretty simple. Pretty simple to set a pose. But we'll get to that later. All right, so I got some character extensions in there. Let's go and let's make this scene a little bit more pretty. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head back over and switch back over to my control rig. And I am going to start making this scene a little more visually appealing, in my opinion. So I'm going to head over to my asset browser, elements, grab a plane, zoom out here, and I'm going to drag that plane right in there. And I'm going to size it. I usually size it about to whatever my grid is. Let me see. Am I close to the edge of the grid? Let's find out. Not quite. Whoa. What is that? That value is 5. Oh, there you go. Right on. Dead on. So I'm going to do this this floor plane. Now, if I go underneath, I can't see my character other than like his little feet that happen to be poking through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my properties, and I'm going to go to viewer options, and I'm going to turn off, I'm going to turn culling from both to just outer. Now if I go underneath, I can see my character. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start dropping in some lights. So again, asset browser, and I'm going to go find a light, and I'm going to start dragging lights in here. This will be my main light. You can see everything kind of went dark because it's like right here at the feet, but if I pull this up and away, it starts brightening everything up. And I usually set this pretty far outside of the my little working area here. Not too far, but you know, far enough so it's not in the way. And I usually kind of put it up high like it's sunlight. I'll just leave that up there for now. All right, so with my main light, I like to add a little bit of color to it. So I usually just add a little bit of yellow, just a hint, just like if it's natural, something like you can go too dark, too much yellow, but just a hint of yellow is usually pretty good. And that's good. This is where you can also, under your light settings, which is right here, you can actually change your intensity and a few other little things that you can play around with. Then I'm going to add another light. Let's drag that up here. And I think I should probably rename this first light. So this first light I'm going to call main. Oh, this is something you do have to click on directly on your node. If you click off, he doesn't give you the rename option, even though it's selected. You have to actually click on the node, and rename becomes ungrayed out. You can actually click rename and call it rename your object. It's my main light. All right, main light. And it's hard to tell, but this has a slight hint of yellow in it. My next light, this is going to be my rim light. I'm just going to drag that off to the side and up. And drag it out this way. Same thing, I'm kind of putting it kind of outside my little working area right here. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to give it a slight blue hue to it. You can see it turning blue there. But I'm going to give it some blue. It's a little bit, I'm going to make it a little bit stronger than the yellow. But I'm also going to take it, I'm going to pump down my value from 100 to 75 because I don't want it to be as strong of a light. Basically, this is a standard 3-point, or actually technically it's a 4-point because I'm going to put in a ground lighting setup. So all right, so now I'm going to drag in the next light. I'm going to call this back. This is my backlight. Some people call it a fill light, so you can call it fill or whatever you want to call it. And then this is going to kind of go behind them. My little tripod setup of lights over there. And I kind of keep this one pretty low, like pretty darn close to the ground. Come around this direction and go into my settings. And I'm gonna actually throw some red on there. You see he's turning red. Not much, just a hint of red. And then I pump that down to 50, like so. Later, if I decide, I'll go and I'll fine-tune these colors to make it more visually appealing. And the last light I'm going to throw in here is my ground light. Rename that ground. light ground. Or maybe call this one fill light. So I'm going to take that, and I'm just going to drag this straight down below him. I like to put these lights out a little bit far. It just seems like the way the light casts on your character is a little bit nicer when they're a little bit further out. With this light, I actually turn it kind of a brown color, so I'll come up in here and I'll just start playing with these colors until I get about the right brown color that I like. And maybe right about there. You can see it's kind of it's like the ground is reflecting the light. So in case you're not aware, everything reflects light. If you're standing over dirt, the sunlight will bounce off the dirt and reflect up and hit the underside of things. And I'll take this, and this will be my lowest value. This will be 25. Pretty low. So some things that are going to make this nicer. So the plane, I'm going to duplicate this plane. So I'm going to copy paste. Where'd it go? It's up there in space. Well, I kind of know where it's at. So hold down Q, and I'm just going to kind of start dragging down in this direction. There it is. I'm going to call this shadow. So I'm going to rename this and call this shadow. It's my shadow plane. And this becomes super useful in the future for an animator to use. So I'm going to take that shadow plane, and I'm actually going to raise it up because I'm going to put a shader on here, and I don't want to accidentally put it on the plane. I'm going to go into my shader elements, and under shaders, let me see if I can get a better layout here. There we go. There is a, where is it? Live shadow right here. Take that live shadow, drag and drop it onto your mesh. You can drag it here, or you can drag it here. I usually drag it here, just because. I'm going to replace all. Boom. And all of a sudden, you can see all of his shadows. Take that. I'm going to actually drop that down, back down to 0. So it's on the floor. You can see now there's all 3 shadows from all 3 lights that are actually hitting him. The one from the bottom is going straight up, so you're not really seeing it as much as the others. So now that I've created a shadow, live shadow, I can come down here to live shadow, double click on that, and it gives me some shadow settings. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off all the lights except for the light main, which is my sunlight. And you can see it eliminates all the shadows except for the one coming from that light source up there. You can also control the intensity of the shadow by turning it down. It's almost non-existent, whatever works best and is most visually appealing to you. This ground is very white. I don't care for it. So I'm going to also grab a shader. Now, by the way, because shadow is now, which I've just selected shadow, the shadow plane, because it's a shadow and it's like transparent, you can't select it, or you can't select it at all. You can see it looks like I'm selecting, but I'm not selecting. I'm actually selecting the plane. So when I grab a material under shading elements, I'm going to take a material. I'm going to add a material to the ground. You can see I'm not accidentally putting it on the shadow plane that I created. So drag that there. This is the default that pop up. I'm going to take that. I'm just going to tone that down a bit because that white is really bright and offensive to my eyes. And if you want to add some color to this as well, maybe make it a little bit of a brown color, that's cool too. Make things pop. A character who's very dark like this, with lots of grays, by default the background is gray in MotionBuilder, so you can actually change that through camera settings. So you find the camera that you want to tweak. In this case, this is the producer perspective camera. Double click on that, and you'll bring up all your camera controls. And this is where you can change your background color. Right now the background color is default 0.16 across the board. So you can click on that. You can start playing with, different colors. Maybe make a sky color or something that this is something that you don't want to go crazy because it just hurts your eyes. But you can add some color in there and make it a little bit nicer. I've seen animators use this color, which kind of is kind of nice, kind of makes this guy pop a little bit. But use your best judgment. If an animator wants to, they can always come in later and actually fine-tune it themselves, fine-tune the ground. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. This little red thing popped up there in the corner. I was like, hey, you should save. So remember to save frequently. Ladies and gentlemen, always save. So let's close that. So we got our character, and he's, I don't know, he's getting close. He's pretty good, I think. Let's add some handles to him. So one of the things that you can do is add handles to joints. So for example, the extension joints that we created for the weapon joints, which are these things right here. Let's unhide those real fast. So let's unhide. It's Control. You select something and hit Control H, and it'll unhide it. There they are. Let's make those a little bit bigger so they're easier to work with. So go to Properties. Increase that size just a little bit. There you go. Oh. Actually, that was a good mistake, selecting him. So one of the things you want to do, I'm going to show you something else before I get back to these weapon nodes. One of the things that you want to do is go into your groups, and you want to create groups for things. I already got a couple of things in here already, which is his mesh in the environment. But let's say these are not in here, so let's delete that. So now I have no groups. If I want to add something to a group, it's real simple. You just select whatever it is, and you say create, and because it's selected, it's now part of the group. So you can do things like unhide it and hide it, or hide it. Yeah, hide it and unhide it. And also you can turn off pick. So if you turn off pick, now I can't select it, but I'm selecting the ground because it's there. So probably what else I want to do is I want to probably throw all my ground plane and lights into a group as well. So I think I'll leave the shadow out of it. I'm going to parent the shadow to the plane because I kind of want them to be connected. But I think I want all this. I want all this into their own group. So I'll just say create, and now they're in their own group, and I should be able to turn it all off, turn it on. Even though you have lights in your scene, if they're in a group and you hide your group, it's going to turn those lights off as if they're not there. So just be aware of that if you put them into a group. But I don't want to accidentally select the ground. Okay, so handles. Let's talk about handles. Let's go over to Asset Browser and Elements. And where is it? Marker, HUD, handle. Here it is, handle. So I want to create a handle for these so I can more easily grab them when I'm animating. So I'm going to take that handle, I'm just going to grab it, and I'm going to drag it on top of that. And what it does is it creates this, you know, whatever, gizmo, GUI, whatever you want to call it. Something that you can grab, and you can see when I grab it, it puts my transform down here, and now I can animate that. Let me unselect everything, unselect. What this is good for is helping me know what direction my weapon node is facing. So some things that help out are if you go to the handle properties, all of a sudden you have all these handle settings, and you can play and adjust with the 2D settings. What's the offset? Right now the offset's 40, 30. Usually what I'll do is I'll zero everything out, and then I'll just start sliding in a specific axis until it goes where I want it to go. Yep, that's forward and backwards. Let's go up like that. I like to make mine sticking out of the backs of the hands if at all possible. And by hitting Control A, which toggles you between just being able to see your objects in the scene, being able to see everything X-rayed or just everything standard. The handles will hide with the rigging. So let's see, what other things? You can auto size to viewer. So it will always remain whatever that size is. You can change, or I turn that off. I can change the size manually, like so, and it means it will stay its size. It won't auto size. And then you can keep adding this around to all the different joints that you need. I'm just going to say, because he's a right-handed weapon wielding kind of a guy, I'm just going to leave one on his right hand because that will probably be the one that I use most, that joint. All right, what else can we talk about? So we got the character extensions, we have the handles. Let me check my asset browser. Have I missed anything here? We talked about groups. You can rename your groups, by the way. You can call it mesh. Oh, by the way, when I select the group, you can see it actually selected everything that's within that group. Call this one Enviro. There we go. Yeah, that's it's looking a lot better. So you can do whatever you want. You can add weapons. You can do all sorts of things here. You can create more character extensions. You're ready. This is ready to pull motion capture into. Yeah, probably gonna have to edit this little section out because I'm like, I know I'm probably forgetting something here. So character extensions. Oh, yeah, organizing. This is a good topic. Organizing. So I've kind of already got it started a little bit in here, but in all these different sections of the navigator, such as lights, you can create folders. So that wasn't in here. Let me delete that. You can go up to whatever that is and say insert folder. You can name that folder whatever you want to call it. And they can take everything and just drag it down into that folder. So ground, back, main, and what was that one? What light was that? Oh, that was the rim. Rename that. Light, rim. Rim light. There we go. Same with materials. You can insert folder and drag all your materials into that folder. Same with your shaders, videos, which I've already drug his textures into the video folder. And yeah, textures, videos. This actually brings up a good point, this Hicks 2014 solver. So these are in here. If I go up to my character, you can see that I've actually got his character solver set to MB, or the MotionBuilder character solver. I honestly prefer the character solver in MotionBuilder more than the Hicks solvers. Doesn't matter what version of the solver it is. It could be anything, 2014, 2016, 2018, doesn't matter. MotionBuilder by far has the best solving of this control rig. And the great thing about MotionBuilder is you can easily toggle back and forth between these different character solvers, and it makes absolutely no difference to your animation flow. Like if you could get to an area where like I really need those controls in whatever the 2014 solver is, you can just click, go right over to it, and it will create it. Me, I don't need them, so I'm going to right click on them. I'm going to say delete, confirm. By the way, that's another new feature in MotionBuilder, I want to say starting with 2018. If you want to delete something and you right click on, or you click on it, you right click, select it, right click, and say delete. It used to be like you could just click delete, but now it's got a little arrow with the confirm, which is it's really nice because I can't tell you how many times I've tried to rename something and I've accidentally deleted it. So there we go. What else? I know there's something I'm missing. I know there's things I'm missing. I'm not thinking about. Oh, I know. I know what I haven't thought about. Haven't thought about degrees of freedom. Um, so this character, if I let me head back over to a skeleton. So I'm going to turn off his control rig so we're back on a skeleton. If I select his elbow can twist in degrees that we don't want his elbow to twist in. We want to control that degree of freedom. And that is really, really simple to do inside of MotionBuilder. Local, global. And the way you do it is you go in, just making sure whether I'm in my local or global states. What you want to do is you want to come over here and you want to go to your properties. If you don't see it in here, what you do is you go to your group by type. You can say group by type, group all. I'm just going to go ahead and click group all. There's a little cog editor over here. I'm going to go find my degree of freedom and I'm going to add it over here. Push it over into my settings so it becomes visible. Close that. And you can see degree of freedom has now shown up in here. And if I go to rotation, I can see it's turned on, but this is turned off. I'm gonna turn on show the degree of freedom icon. So if I turn that on, you can see it's created a sphere around his elbow. And the first thing I notice is how off that skeleton is. So there was a mistake in setting this characterized character up. So let's fix that mistake. What I want is this degree of freedom to be local to world, for lack of a better term. I don't want to have this off angle because I can just see problems in the future. But to give you kind of an idea, you can come up here and you can set your rotation order. And I want to say this guy is this way. And we want to turn off the X. You can see it actually bent his arm up when I did that. I also want to turn off the C, not that one, not Y, I want Z. So I turned off Z. So you can see how it's actually bent his arm forward. See, I don't want that. And the reason why it did that is because I missed the rotation on his arms as I was doing his characterization. So let me turn all that off. Turn all that off. I'll leave that on so we can see what it looks like. I'm going to go back over to his character definition. I'm just going to turn him off. Click OK. I'm going to come over here to his arm, and I'm just going to kind of re-look at what his settings are going down the chain of his arm. Arm roll. You can see that certain axes are locked. That came in from Maya that way. That seems okay. Let me go to the forearm. This is the treble one. And that one's definitely off. And if I look at the values on that, I can see that those are off. What happens if I 180 it? 180. Yeah. Negative 90. And then 180. And it starts throwing that stuff off. This is the reason why you want, when you build something in Maya, to make sure that whatever your joints are, they're spot on. Now, we don't want the elbows or the knees to break whenever we're animating this character, typically. I mean, if maybe this was like a more cartoony game where we didn't mind for joints to bend in weird directions, we could do it. But for this game, we want something a little more realistic. And so we want to do our best to get this as straight as possible. So with the characterization turned off, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to troubleshoot why this arm is doing what it's doing. And it's just bad axes. I wonder if it's even pointing down. It looks like it's pointing down the axes correctly, but the rotation is off for some reason. So one of the places you can go to look for the rotation to be off would be in the degree of freedom settings. Let me go back over here and see if I can find them, which is right here. This is the pre-rotation, so you can see what the pre-rotation is. What happens if I zero that out? 0, 0, 0. Get rid of the pre and the post. So then I want to go in here and I want to, what happens if I zero that out now? Spins it up like that. Not quite what I want, but I think we're getting closer. No, this direction, 90. And then this direction, negative 90. There we go. Now we're getting this elbow straightened up. That looks a lot better. His elbow may seem hyperextended, but it's okay. Just the way that the scale, everything was built. Hyperextension is not going to matter once you start posing him and putting animation onto him. So now that we got that figured out, we can go in here and we can actually turn on the degree of freedom on the different axes. So that gets rid of the X. Then I think it was, yeah, it was this one. There we go. So his arm is much, much better now. And I bet his other arm has the exact same problem. So let's go look at his other arm. Forearm, roll, forearm. There we go. Let's turn on that degree of freedom, and it is wonky as well. I can see that there's numbers in the value field for the pre-rotation, which we want to get rid of. You'll probably want to talk to whoever your rigger is at your studio and kind of work through this little problem, because this is something that can be solved in Maya very easily. So you don't have to worry about it so much when you get into MotionBuilder. So we want to zero this out. And Liz's arm looks broken, so I'm going to zero this out. I'm working in global space. All right. Now, if you hold down J, and I've got my snap setting set to 45. So I'm going to hold down J, and I'm going to left click and rotate. You can see I'm snapping at 45 degree angles. If you go into presets, you can set this to 5, 10, whatever you want it to snap to. I typically have it set to 45 just because that seems what's best for a lot of the stuff I have to do when I'm animating game characters. Because usually when I have to do these big snaps, it's usually at a specific angle. So up, that puts me at 90. You can see because I snapped it, I didn't have to do that fine tuning and typing stuff in. Hold down J, left click, rotate, thump thump, just like that. That puts me at 92, 90, 180. Yeah, that's crazy. So crazy. Let me switch my Euler to like the other arm, like that. Well, in theory it should work, so let's turn that off. Oh, a little bit of a down there. Yeah, it's fine. Turn that off. Turn that off. Yeah. Except for the one thing that I just totally messed up on. It's okay, you learn from your mistakes, right? I want it to go in a different axis. I want it to do this axis. That, and then that. There we go. That one and that one, which means I messed up on this one. So let's go fix that. Let's flip back over to this. You can see because how it's now kind of like a crescent moon because I switched this before turning these back off and on. There we go. So there we go. Much, much better. Mistake fixed. So now I can grab this and I can rotate this and it'll rotate in that direction, but it will not rotate in any of the other directions. That is reserved for forearm rotation. which I'm going to get to here in a second because he has forearm rotation built into this character. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this to the knees as well. It's pretty important, I believe. And I can see some pre-rotations here, so I'm just going to get rid of some of those pre-rotations on both these knees. There we go. And zero those out here as well. There we go. And let's turn on our little helpers here so we know exactly what we're looking at. And you can actually do these together. I could have actually done the knees and the elbows together if the skeleton is set up correctly to begin with. So let's get rid of this, and is it that one? Not that one. Is it? Oh, this Euler, do these need to be flipped? That way? No. This way? Maybe. Yeah, I guess that way. I guess that way will work best. So I'm going to something feels off. Turn that off, and that shifted. What's my pre? Do I have any pre on that? Pre-rotation? So what this tells me is that the joint that came in from Maya was bad. And then again, this would be these little things that I'm picking out right here would be reasons to send this back to whoever the guy is who's rigging your stuff. Double check the upper leg, make sure oh yeah, look at that. There we go. Let's try that. Let's rotate that in. I wonder if that's where the error. Oh, I wonder if that's where the error is coming from. It's coming from up higher. Yeah, because that one's all zeroed out, but this one was not. There we go. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so I'd also go up here and I'd do the fingers, not the hands. Let me anyway, make sure those hands are straightened up here. Go do that other hand. This other side of the body is just all sorts of funky. There we go. That'll work. Let me grab these fingers. I don't ever do it to the root of the finger. When I'm putting on Degree of Freedom, I only ever do it to the ends of the fingers, like that, including the thumb. So I'll just do this one hand, do these one hands one at a time. Oh, that's big. Oh, I can't see what's going on here. Well, you can scale this down so you can see what's going on a little bit better. What are these fingers doing before I start punching in numbers here? Oh, Lord. All right, so 0, 0. Oh, that probably should have been 90. Let's start rotating this around. There we go. $90 and $90. There we go. That's getting there. Yeah, I'm not super stoked with this skeleton, but it's okay. Let's get us through for now. There we go. I guess this left hand is negative 90, 90, right? I hate it when this happens. You're like, oh no, why is it adding values onto my keys? It has to do with gimbal and going past 0 and flipping things 90 and 180, negative, both negative and positive. It all stems from how the skeleton was built again. So again, very, very important when you do a skeleton in Maya, do a very good skeleton in Maya. Otherwise, you're just gonna a lot of trouble. Let me go to local. Let's see what happens if I go to local. Start mucking around with all this. I'm just gonna zero this out in local. There we go. Local space. Done. And done, I think. Okay, so I'm not gonna muck around with that. Just take my word for it. You can come in here and you can put degree of freedom on these fingers, and it will actually help when you're animating, not accidentally breaking these fingers in weird angles. Because a lot of times you don't have fingernails to be able to tell which direction the finger is bending. And if you can't tell, you can be probably bending your finger sideways. All right, so I think we come to the end of this tutorial. I think all that's left to do is recharacterize this. Say biped, and there we go. It's characterized. Turn on his control rig. There's his control rig. It's ready to go. Let's put him in a new pose. Oh, remember, because I turned it on, it put it onto this element mode. Let's do full body. So now we can come in here, grab his shoulders. He's kind of got puffy shoulders. Let's pull those shoulders down, make him feel a little more natural. Give us a little more window to work with. Let's pull this down. Oh. There we go. Just I like to test these guys out. Just kind of move them around and kind of see how they feel. If there's anything weird or wonky. So whenever you got to copy a pose, you can also mirror poses pretty easily. Having that reference node right here, which is the top null, it gives you kind of like a local mirroring point where it says, okay, I'm going to mirror based off of this object. So this guy has weird proportions. But it's all good. Oh, something else I didn't think about is forearm twists. All right, so he's got that built-in forearm, right? Which you can actually see the joint right there. So when you twist his arm, it rotates, right? You can actually control the amount that rotates in your character settings. Let me show you. So if you come down here, you can see all the different things, including, where is it? Reach, roll, there it is. So this gives you an idea of how to set your roll mode. Here we go. Elbow roll, shoulder roll, and hip and everything. So this would be his left forearm. So I'm assuming it would be that one right there. If I roll it this way, I should be able to. Is it that one? Arm roll. It's been a long time. I haven't used these roll settings in a while. Is it this one? Oh, nope, that's grayed out. Can't slide that one. Oh, left elbow roll. Here we go. I was doing the wrong one. No? Maybe. I don't know. Go up to 100%. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can see it's definitely affecting it more than if it was a much lower number. Relative. Let's do absolute. Let's see what happens in absolute mode. I think looking at these it's a lot easier to fine tune these joints when you actually have motion capture running on this thing, because you can, while it's actually animating, you can actually play with these settings and see kind of how it affects. But yeah, so there you go. So you can play with your rolls right here. And I don't know. I guess I'm coming to the end of it. I think this is a pretty good character. If you're ever like, oh, I've been posing this guy and I need to get him back to his home pose, you can click this little button up here in the very top right corner in full body mode, and he'll go back to whatever that was. I guess I should show you floor contacts and why we did what we did. So there's a setting in here under modifiers called floor contacts, and I'll turn on feet floor contact, which is right here. And if I take his foot floor contact and I start lifting this up, you can see it actually pushes his foot up. So for example, right now his feet are pinned, but if I unpinned his feet, just start moving him around like so, he moves around, you know, how you'd expect, until he hits that plane where all of a sudden the floor contact turns on or kicks in and no longer, doesn't allow his feet to go through the floor. So if I move up just one, you can see, let me put his leg back down there, look, like that. All right, so if I move him down now, you'll see his right foot will catch on that invisible axis while his other foot continues down to the ground. And if I rotate this, you can see it's also rotating his foot up. It's like an invisible plane. So where is this good? Well, one, I generally undo a bunch of times to get that back down there. All right, there we go. One, it's great for like if the feet are going through the floor because you put some motion capture on him and you want to kind of keep his feet from clipping through the floor. You just leave these on the floor and just turn it on and it works. Same with his hands. His hands will actually, let's say he's falling down on the ground onto his face. Turning on the hand floor contact will keep his hands from going through the floor. But another great use for it is because these are on nodes and because they control the feet separately. Let's say there was a staircase in front of him he had to walk up, whether it's hand keyed or motion captured. Like if it's motion captured, you could literally, like as he's walking up the stairs, take these nodes and key these as he's stepping up to each step. So every time his foot comes down onto the step, it stops his foot from coming through. So it's just an easy way of animating. I've had characters sitting at desks typing on keyboards and doing stuff on tabletops, and I'll take these and for the hands, and I'll place these at table height. So as long as his hands aren't dropping below the desk for any reason, it will prevent his hands from like clipping through, or at least help prevent it from clipping through. So there you go. Some basics, why I do what I do, why I have things set up. Something nice for the animators to work with. One thing I didn't touch on was bump maps. If you do happen to have a bump map, it's a little bit of playing with. I'm going to see if I can find a model with one, just do a quick, hey, this is how you set up bump map tutorial. But you can, it's just like the shadow. If you go over into your asset browser and go to elements or shading elements, you can go into bump map and you can drag your bump map onto your mesh like that, and it will, you'll want to append it to that, and tell it what light source, and it will all of a sudden all the bump mapping will come to life. And, you'll have to do some playing with some settings to make it look not ugly, but it's kind of nice. It's a nice little touch. So, anyways, yeah, transition back here to me, and I want to thank you guys for watching and giving this a chance. And if you're watching this on YouTube, let's see. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, because anytime I Twitch something, I push it to YouTube. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that follow button. And if and if once that subscription thing pops up, go ahead and subscribe. That'd be awesome. I much appreciate it, and it'll help these tutorials keep coming. Pay attention, just pay attention to this channel, because I'm going to be throwing more stuff out there every Wednesday, or at least I'm going to try to every Wednesday. It's Wednesdays are my days for animating on Twitch, and for um, you know showing tutorials and kind of teaching game development and stuff. And Sundays I sculpt, so I kind of switch modes and I do more traditional sculpting, kind of like what you see back here, right there. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys learned something, and I will see you next time.